Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where learning art is fun. I'm Sarah and in today's video I am going to be painting Tom and Jerry on rocks, pebbles or stones, and I'm going to jump straight in with my stones and secure them to my desk with a piece of blue tack, or you can use plasticine if you haven't got that. Making sure that your stones are nice and clean and dry before then adding a base layer of paint. And I'm going to be using acrylic paint, but poster paint will do just as well. And you may need to add a few layers, so it's important to make sure that in between layers that paint is good and dry. And once the stones are nice and dry, then it's time to rough out with pencil an outline of what image you'd want to draw. So today, instead of using my regular HB pencil, I thought I would try using this white colour pencil because I thought it would stand out really nicely on the red and make the drawing that I'm going to do a lot easier to see. However, it's worth bearing in mind, and something I did find out when I did the painting was that because this pencil is wax based, it did resist the paint a little bit, so that's just something to bear in mind if you were going to try the same. So for the outline I just did a rough sketch, making sure that I'd got enough room on my pebble to fit the whole design in. And I did the same with Tom as with Jerry, so not paying too much attention to detail at this stage, just making sure that everything would fit in and be in the right proportion and be in the right place. So all the details can come later, but just roughing out basically some shapes to make sure that everything's in the right place. So I'm going to start off painting Tom first. And I began with a small round paintbrush, just blocking out the main areas of his nose. And as you can see, some of that red paint from the underneath base layer does show through, so that just means we need maybe a couple of layers to cover that up. And basically just blocking out some main areas to start with, because we can make some more changes or adjust things as we add a few more details and another layer on top. So I'm using acrylic paints, as I said, and I will put information in the description box below of all the other materials that I used. But if you haven't got acrylic paints, you can use poster paints, and if you haven't got those, then you can use markers as well. And if you wanted to go out and buy any acrylic paints for projects like this, then I would suggest not getting any really expensive ones. And you don't even need that many colours, because most of the colours I've got are primary colours and I just mix them together to get the shade that I want. So now I'm using an even smaller paintbrush, and that just helps me get into the smaller areas without making too many marks on the outside of my edges. But another top tip is, if you haven't got a really fine paintbrush, then you can use your marker pens on top of your paint. Make sure it's dry though before you do this. And I do this later on when I go around and outline Tom and Jerry. And it's also good to use markers and things like that where you want to do fine details like whiskers and areas like the eyes as well. So I'm now just doing another layer of white just to make it really stand out against the red and to cover up any of the colour still showing through from underneath. And another layer of yellow helps to bring out the eyes as well. Now at this point I decided to do a little bit of shading around the right side of Tom's face, but I did change my mind, so I kind of painted over that later on. But that's the really good thing about painting on stones, is that you can change your mind and just go over anything if you decide to. You'll also notice in this video that sometimes the light just goes in and out a little bit, so I'm sorry about that, but I was trying to do this quite late after I'd had a day at work, so I was kind of battling against time to get it done before the light was fading, because it is a lot better to use natural light. So at this point I decided to go over Tom's fur with another layer of paint, and I made it a little bit brighter just because I thought it would contrast better with the red of the background. So I've really been enjoying doing these rock paintings, but if there's anything else that you would like to see here on this channel, then please drop a comment in the box below. I would love to see your ideas for future videos. I have got a few things up my sleeve, but as I said, it's always nice to get your feedback and your ideas so that I can be doing on this channel what you guys would like to see. So once we got Tom done, it was time to move in and do Jerry. And this Pebble was quite a lot smaller, so it was a little bit more fiddly. And at one stage I did think it was all a bit of a blur and didn't know whether or not it was going to work, but the thing that kind of pulled it all together was the black outline around the outside. So again, I would keep going until the end. Don't give up if you think the same thing, because things can come good even if you're not expecting them to. So once these were both dry, it was then time to go in with my fine liner, just to go around the outside to kind of really make it stand out and look a bit cleaner and crisp around those edges, and kind of finish it off nicely. And then I just used a green fine liner as well, just to go around the pupils of Tom's eyes to make them really glow, as well as some white gel pen for the highlights in his eyes. And then it was time to sort Jerry out, and it did, as I said, all come together quite nicely, which was a good surprise for me because I wasn't expecting this one to come out that well. But as you'll see when we zoom in a little bit, there was a bit of an outline left over from the white pencil that I used to do the initial sketch, but I did just go and touch that up with a bit of the red paint that I used in the first place for the base layer. So you can see that outline a bit, especially around the arm, but I did go in and just kind of neaten that up with some more red paint, and just went in and lightened up certain areas of Jerry's nose and also the tummy as well. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this stone painting video, and if you have, don't forget to give it a comment, thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as well as hit the bell icon, because I think you need to do that on YouTube now to be notified of any new videos. So we're just finishing off now. it's also worth mentioning that I have started uploading videos on my other channel, The Art Hive, as well, so if you want to go and see those, I will put a link below for that as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching.